So, very excited to have Shaz here with us today, and Shaz is going to be talking to us all around personal branding.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bobby. I hate the idea that I'm the first speaker of the day because I am scared of public speaking. I'm not a polished public speaker, but please do forgive me. I used to run a lot of workshops, and a lot goes into putting something like this together, and especially if you're a dentist, where you can earn a lot more money in clinical dentistry than putting something like this on. So you need to be a certain type of individual who wants to do these events and give back. So could we just take a moment just to appreciate Bobby? If you guys wouldn't mind just standing up and just giving Bobby a round of applause. Say thank you for something you've done like this. Bobby has placed an order for his first Ferrari, so don't clap too much. I've been in marketing my whole life. I started my company when I was 18 years old, and you're probably wondering he doesn't look that old. That's thanks to my medical grade skincare. I am over 40. In this presentation, I've crammed in 20 years of learning into the short space of time that we've got today, so I might be speaking quite fast. But my goal here today is to give you everything I've learned from the hundreds of practices I've worked with and the thousands of hours that I've spent, to give you the formula of all the elements that really make a practice successful. And as a marketer, I would say most marketing doesn't work. I'm not a big believer in advertising, which is counterproductive to this event, but I'm going to give you my perspective on it. So from startup to standout, you are at the right event, despite what the picture looks like. So there's 8 startup growth factors in my opinion. There is no marketing is going to work in the absence of skill. Yeah? There is no flashy marketing campaign that's going to make a practice that's not very good become really, really successful. So skill, mastering your craft is the cornerstone of anything that you're going to do. That's number one. Now, I don't mean being the best in the country. I mean being really good at what you do, because who's been sold something and then never went back to that business because it was lackluster? It didn't give you that delivery. A restaurant, for example, we don't go back. So we are in a business where we need people to be talking about us. Can you tell me which marketing service is the highest ROI and costs nothing? Word of mouth, right? Are we really using word of mouth effectively enough? So this is what I want to talk about today. In the end, it's not the skill of marketing that makes a company successful, it's the skill of delivering value. Before any marketing can succeed, the foundation of a thriving business is built upon delivering exceptional value. So the practices that I know that do exceptionally well, they are very good at what they do. And we want long-term patient retention. So flashy marketing will only take us this far. And the cost of marketing has become so high that you really need to weigh up, is marketing even going to work? So we need to make sure that the cornerstone of your growth is delivering outstanding dentistry that people talk about. Word of mouth is still king. I didn't want to exclude anyone. Word of mouth is number one. And in healthcare, personal recommendations will always carry more weight than paid advertisements. So if you're a squat, obviously you'll have to invest in some paid advertising because no one knows you, but ultimately the goal is to build a practice that gets spoken about when you're not doing any marketing. So mastery drives credibility. The skill growth formula is master your craft, number one. A skilled practitioner doesn't chase patients. Patients chase them. I really want you to install that learning, because I've seen this from all the practices that I work with. There are practices that are oversubscribed. Principal says, look, my books are full. I've now got 4 associates. They're the ones I want to see the patients that they really want to see. And they've gone from 1 clinic to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Bond Dental in Marylebone, round the corner from my office. Started off with his first practice, right? We're friends now. And he came to me with that same philosophy. So he's a principal, he's a dentist that practices. But it was all about building so much credibility, putting out exceptional dentistry, and then scaling that if that's what your dream is. It's been there, the formula's out there, and Bobby's teaching it as well. Number 2 is brand. Brand is, you've heard this before, it's way more than a logo itself. It's a perception, it's a feeling. So I must know about 13 apple tree dental practices. When I'm telling someone that you need to use a dental practice, that practice name needs to be easy for me to share and also quite memorable. So I'm a big believer in having a name that is easy to recall in private conversations. So if your practice is called the Smile Practice, it's very, oh, I think it was called the Smile something. Now, if someone goes in to Google that practice, you've lost that referral if they don't end up at your practice. So if we are relying on word of mouth, we need to make sure that when word of mouth is used, that they end up where you want. So I've got a charity called Wells on Wheels. Yeah? People call it Water on Wells, Water on Wheels, World on Walls, right? It doesn't work. Google's actually very good. It sends them back because they use the word charity. But you need to, I've made that same mistake with my own charity. So you need to have a name, if you are thinking of a name, that is memorable, easy, and not easy to get confused with another brand. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So memorable brand names for me are really important. Going for something short is always going to be a bit easier. So I'm a designer. At my agency, we've pre-made lots of brand identities. But if you just look at the names, it doesn't have to be super dental. It can just be a name that people can recall. Choosing a domain name. Many people register domain names that have all the keywords for their key services within the domain name. Who here believes that this is going to rank you higher on Google? Yeah. It used to be the strategy. I would say if you're in the position to choose a domain name, go for the shortest, easiest to remember, if that's available. So often, what we're doing is that if you've come up with a name and you say, right, it's not available, but I don't see a website on there, you go and try and buy that domain name from whoever's selling it. There's a guy called Ali. He's got a practice called Dental Opulence, and his domain name is do.co.uk. And it's just so iconic. Even Bond Dental in Marylebone, it's just bonddental.co.uk. So I really care about the little detail because it sets the foundation of what you're going to do going forward. But of course, if you already have all these things in place, then there's nothing for you to do at this stage. So brand growth formula is defining your core values. And most practices have similar core values, exceptional patient care, honesty, integrity. That's all very blah and common. Everyone has that. There are things that separate you from others, and you really need to shout that out. For example, you might be in an area where there's a lot of older patients, right? You might be implant practice. You need to say, we slow everything down. We're not in a hurry. We've got time for you. We give you extra time in our appointments, right? How many practices are saying things like that? So when there's so many people offering what you do, patients aren't fully understanding what's separating you from another practice. So really think about what you can say that makes the patient think, yeah, they are different. Work out what that is for you. I received a call at my agency many years ago when I used to answer the phone, and I said, well, who is your target audience to the practice owner? And he paused and he gave me a sarcastic reply, and he said, well, everyone with teeth, obviously. Now, if you try and market to everyone, you end up appealing to no one. You need to be extremely specific with who you are targeting. So even if you are opening a general practice or you have a general practice, what do those patients look like? What kind of families are these? Do they have children? Should we be catering for the children? Is there a transient audience? So you need to define who that audience is. And the reason you need to define who that audience is that when you're building a website and a social media strategy, you need to speak to that audience in a language they understand. So in central London, you could say, we know you're extremely busy. That's why we've got appointments after work. There's also an assumption that people know what Invisalign is. There's still a lot of people that do not know what Invisalign does. So we say things like, straighten your teeth in secret. Right? Use language that people are going to understand, but understand your patient. Not all patients are the same. Raise of hands if you shop on Amazon. Yeah, nearly everyone here. Amazon's money page, we call it, the page you check out on, is such an ugly page from a designer's perspective. I know we've got a few designers in the room. The fonts, the shapes of the button, it's a disaster. I've been designing my whole life, and if I made that design, I'd be quite embarrassed to produce that and give that to someone. However, in the marketing world, it's the most iconic page ever created in human history. Why is that? One tweak on that page can affect hundreds of millions of pounds worth of profit or revenue for Amazon. That page must sell to old, young, people in a hurry, people who want more information. All the patient types that you guys deal with, Amazon's page has found a way of appealing to every single person. How have they done that? They've used behavioral psychologists, user interface experts, they've used design experts, they've done lab tests, but the formula is very, very simple, and I adopt this in my company today. The formula is purchase beacons. On Amazon's page, there are purchase beacons peppered throughout the page, and those purchase beacons are, for example, if I'm an impatient person, it says, get your delivery tomorrow. If I'm a visual person, the images are right there. If I need other people's, if I need social proof, the reviews are there. So when we design a website, people say to us, oh, your sites are busy. We make sure that all the things patients are looking for in a short space of time are available without them having to click or scroll. We found if we do that, they end up staying beyond 3 seconds. If they end up staying beyond 3 seconds, they end up staying 3 minutes. We've seen that if they end up staying beyond 3 minutes, they end up inquiring. So now it's not a website, now we're talking about a patient conversion machine. And you don't need to really be an expert to understand this, you just need to be an Amazon customer. So look at your websites and think, would my patient know what to do? So we did a study with 100 patients and we asked them, what do you look for when you find a dental practice on your mobile phone? Without having to scroll or click. They said, we want to get the phone number straight away. We want to know exactly where that practice is. We want to know the focus of that practice, and we want to know about its reviews. Okay? So every site we ever design has that on there. If a patient has to click something and scroll to get your phone number or your address, many of them are going to be like, I'm going to come back to that tab later. I must have 400 open tabs that I've never come back to and I've forgotten about that moment. You've just lost £10,000 potentially, maybe even £100,000 if they became a raving patient of yours. So these little details can make the difference between you scaling 2 more surgeries, getting more associates, having more freedom, working 1 clinical day if that's what you want. These details are all corresponding and reflecting the kind of practice you want to build. Is your messaging simple? We are living in such a distracted society now that there's so many messages coming our way. We're not understanding it. There's so many banner stands here. If I asked you what have you noticed about any of them, it's going to be very difficult for you to give me an answer because there's so many messages coming our way. Same with your patients. Most of your patients are confused about what you actually offer. So many practices I speak to, they say a patient's gone away and come back with a full set of veneers. And then we've asked the patient, like, why did you do that? And they said, well, didn't know you offered it. This is all I do. How do you not know that I offered it? But it's the practice's fault because you're not reinforcing the same messages. It's not peppered across the practice. It's not going out in emails. You are assuming. So confusion repels, clarity attracts. You have to keep pushing the same message that this is what we do, this is how we do it, and this is how you can work with us. This is my first ever exhibition stand at the start of my career. So I established Digimax in 2003. I was really ambitious. Everyone said to me, Shaz, you're an amazing designer, you should start your own company. Then I spoke to a show organizer and they said, look, have a stand. This is the best show. This was a show in Birmingham. I think it was 2009. I had £6,000 in my business account. This stand, after everything, was costing me about £5,000. The biggest financial investment I was ever going to make in the career of my business, right? I took about a month to design this stand. I thought, what does someone want to know about my company? My company as in me, I was a one-man band at that time. They want to know my work, so I got lots of work on there, testimonials, what I offer, awards. I don't even think they're proper awards. Someone emailed me saying you've won something, so I thought let me put it on there. And at that time, I've always been ambitious. So at that time, I managed to work with James Caan. He was on Dragon's Den. I became his brand manager. So any projects he would get, he would say, Shaz, what do you think? What do you think of their marketing? So I put that on there. I thought there is no way anyone's going to beat me in this show when it comes to marketing, because I've got the credibility and I've got the proof. What actually happened was people walked past and said, what do you do then? That happened once, again. One Iranian guy walked past and said, price, what's the price? I said, well, what do you need? Just tell me the price. So I gave him the price because he's being aggressive, so I gave him a price back. Too expensive. I was like, okay. And one lady walked past and was looking at James Caan. I thought, all right, got it, this worked. She said, is that your dad? At the end of this whole process, I felt like an absolute failure because I had 2 leads come in and there was no chance they were converting, right? Then the show organizer said, how did it go for you? How did it go? I've got a floor plan. I said, piss off, mate. I'm not booking next year. I haven't got the money for it. What I learned was shows is not for me. I should just go back to doing what I was doing. Then 10 years later, Craig from FMC, I know FMC are here today, said to me, Shaz, we're going to give you a package deal, mate. It's going to include shows. It's going to include speaking events. I said, I don't want the stand. I'll do the speaking event. He said, no, you've got to have the stand. So I did a stand. Do you think anyone said, what do you do then? One bastard did, and he was another show organizer because he wanted to sell me something. Our most successful event, this is our formula for all our events now. What does Apple do with the Apple Watch? The most advanced fitness wearable you'll ever own and wear on your wrist. That's their strap line. That was their strap line. They're always changing it. Once you've got them hooked, then everything else you offer is secondary. We are so distracted that we need to make it very clear. We straighten teeth. You will be able to bite again. You will get your confidence back by seeing us. Simplify your messaging because we are so distracted. This is our formula. It's open for all of you to use because I've been there, done that, and I found this worked better than everything else that I've done in the past. So this is what I do with websites and any advice I give. We don't offer social media services, but I say if you're doing any social media, I wrote a book called Instagram for Dentists, sold over 18,000 copies. And in there, there's a power of 9 model. And I say the first 7 squares, 7 out of 9 of those first squares on Instagram should be telling your story. If I have to click to zoom in or scroll to work out what you're doing, that's a waste of post. So make sure every post is very clear what's going to be in that post if I click on that post. So the audience growth formula is don't let your patients make incorrect assumptions about you. Experience. I wrote a book called Experience Marketing for Dentists because I found that really the only way to grow a practice is by getting your patients to speak about you in volume. I feel I've done that with my own company. So I've always been impressed by 5-star hotels. Every time I've stayed in one, I just sit there and I'm very different to any other guest. I'm observing. I'm looking at the reception team, I'm looking at the staff, I'm looking at all the little things that are happening in a hotel. And I'm asking myself, why do I feel good here? And I can go to that same hotel in another country and usually I will feel the same. And why is it that practices rely on Susan at front desk, that depends on her mood, how she's going to be and whether she's going to be in, to scale or to have control over whether a practice is doing well or not. But hotels can go, right, we're going to build here today and this is how it's going to be, and it just works. So I was intrigued. I Googled best hotel concierge trainer in London. Company came up called Reception Academy. They closed down now because this was pre-pandemic. And I called them and they said, yeah, so which hotel do you represent? I said, actually, I don't represent a hotel. I run a marketing agency. And they're like, no, we don't work, we only work with hotels. And I said, look, can I just speak with your boss? Because I've got a really unusual request. I said, look, we're an agency. We design branding, most powerful dental websites, and high intent organic SEO. These are the three things that we offer. But I feel there's so many people that offer this, and our clients are saying to us, we really like the way you work, because you work with honesty and integrity. But I'm a bit stuck because I can't scale, because it's just all about me. But I do want to serve more people. And he heard me out, and he said, we've got a course that we use to train concierge staff. We're going to deliver the same course to you. It's going to talk about guests. It's going to talk about hotel stuff. And I said, that's fine. I will buy that. And being a tight bastard that's never done any training for my team, I went back to my team and I was like, I'm investing in training. They got excited. They thought it's going to be design or pay-per-click or something like that. And I said, we're going to a concierge trainer for a hotel. And they looked at me like, we're not waiters. Why are you taking us here? So I had to convince them on that side, them on this side. We arrived at this training. And you've got this really tough, big trainer. And he said, I've been a concierge for the last 30 years. And this is what I do. He said, raise of hands if you arrive to work on time. Everyone was like, yeah. Raise your hands if you take pride in your work. They're like, yeah. Raise your hands if it's important to you to do your job correctly. He said, yeah. He's like, you're not special. That's what you get paid for. Now, do you want to become special? He turned the sheet over and he said, the first greeting. He walked through the formula on how to make people feel special. And that formula was very simple. Do what no one else is willing to do. He gave us examples. He said, when I used to work at the Churchill Hotel, I'd open the door and often people would say to me, where can I go and get a postcard, London postcard? He said, every time I hear anything twice, I go and do something about it. So he said, the third time someone asked me which shop I can get postcards from, I opened my pocket, said, which one would you like? What happened? People spoke about that hotel. They wrote about that experience in reviews. There's about 130 systems in hotels. If a woman breaks her waters whilst being pregnant in a hotel room, there's a standard operating procedure on what to do. Similarly, there are standard operating procedures on customer service. Marketing is not going to make you successful. Advertising isn't going to make you successful. Your skill is going to make you successful. Delivering an experience that gets patients to go out their way to speak about that experience is going to make you successful. Marketing is going to amplify what you're already doing. That's all marketing is going to do. That's why I say no marketing is going to work in the absence of you being really special as a practice. So I believed in it so much, I wrote a book called Experience Marketing for Dentists, How to Grow Your Practice Without Spending a Penny More on Marketing. And there's little things in there. Emails. The emails that you're sending patients, how fast are you replying back to them? Usually quite slow because most practices are stretched. But how much enthusiasm is in there? I'm not giving you a book pitch to sell my book or anything. I've got all this stuff. It's freely available. I can give it to you. But I've written email templates of, instead of saying, thank you for your inquiry, we will get back to you. It's so lovely to hear from you. We are so grateful that you inquired with us. It would be our absolute pleasure to serve you at the practice and to receive you as a guest. This is what we live for. If there's any questions you have, you can reach out to me on this email or even call me and I'll speak to you. I feel completely different from, thank you for your inquiry, we'll get back to you. Rephrasing every customer service element so patients feel so reassured. And often, a lot of the practices that are doing really, really well, they don't have the best clinicians, they're not giving the best outcomes, they're giving outcomes that patients are quite happy with, but to the patient it feels like they're so comfortable to go on social media and say, this is the best practice I've ever been to, this is the best practice in Manchester. When we know it's not the best practice in Manchester, but the perception is that they're the best because of the little things that they do. I don't want to waffle on, but I just want to give you one more example. When I used to run my workshops like this, and like I was saying, it's so much work, you really want to do it for the right reasons. I used it as a bit of a social experiment. So whenever I go to any event, I'm thinking, what's the building going to look like? Where am I going to park? Where do I enter from? There's, all this anxiety before you. We're used to it now, but we arrive at places with all these questions in our head. And for a patient to arrive at a practice feeling that way, it's not great. So I did a little experiment. I went to Green Park. So I used to do my events at the Mayfair in London. Went to Green Park Station, walked out, got my camera phone, and walked to the venue, opened the door, walked up to the stairs, walked into the room. And I put that video together, just put some graphics on top. You'll come out of Green Park, you'll turn right. You're going to walk, you're going to pass this place. And I made this little video. 7 a.m. in the morning, I sent out a text message to all the attendees saying, look forward to seeing you. If you're parking, this is where you need to park. But if you're coming by train, tube, this is the walking directions video. Sent it to them. They came into the room that morning and I said, raise of hands if you received a text message. Raise of hands if you watched the video. To my surprise, nearly everyone watched that video. And I said, how did you feel? They said, we felt relaxed. We had time to go and grab a coffee because we weren't worried about arriving at the wrong place or getting late. These touches reflect on the service that you offer. People think that this is the product. When the actual product might be dentistry, it's not dentistry, it's the wrapping of dentistry. If I give you iPhone 17 in a beautiful box, Nasser, if I give you the iPhone 17, you look, is that Apple? Yeah. If I give you the iPhone 17 right now in a box, beautiful box, how are you going to feel?
Grateful.
Grateful. And I haven't got it for you here. I can shake your hand if you like. And when you open that box, is there a feeling? What feeling do you have when you open an apple for the first time?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
You put me on the spot.
Yeah, you shouldn't sit at the front. You shouldn't sit at the front. So look, when we open something really nice for the first time, there's an experience. You lift the lid up. There's a sound. There's a smell. There's all of that. Now I'm going to give you that same iPhone 17 in a plastic druggy bag with a bit of mud on there. Same phone, brand new. I say, here you go. What are you thinking? Are you thinking? You're thinking, will this work? Yeah. Do I even want it? It's covered in muck. Do I even want it even though it's brand new? It's iPhone 17. Exactly same item. Exactly same item. So your dentistry is being judged on all the wrapping. So experience. I don't like to be a selfie quote guy, but I really believe customer service is not something you do. It's something you become. So when Ramin, our trainer, so Ramin even joined Digimax actually. We started training practices on this. Everyone said to Ramin, look, we can't be like you. We can't be bubbly, talking to everyone. That's not who we are, especially in the UK. And he said, have the mindset that I'm going to give without wanting to receive. So I'll give you more examples on this. And with customer service being so poor in the United Kingdom, the highest ROI marketing really investment you can make in your brand is by just doing a little bit more than anyone else is willing to do. When we go to any establishment really in the UK, we usually either get what we're expecting or below what we're expecting. Yeah? If you went to KFC and the lady came out with a plate and said, sir, would you like to sit down? We'd be perplexed because it's not, they were going to do the bare minimum. And we also sometimes like bare minimum consistency. Like I'm a big Nando's fan. I know I'm always going to get that same experience. So having consistency is also a key to success. So go beyond basic satisfaction. We want raving patients, not patients like him, but the ones that will be surprised by the extra little touches. And I don't mean touches that will get you in trouble with the GDC. I mean, are you sending physical birthday cards? Yeah. Back in the 90s, we used to receive birthday cards from the bank. You've got the addresses, date of births for all of your patients. At Digimax, we've got 12 different designs of birthday cards. We've got a congratulations card. We've got a you've had a baby boy, you've had a baby girl. Yeah? And we're sending these out with no expectation. We're even sending it out to people that aren't even our clients. The only card we haven't got is congratulations on your divorce. Children. I've got a little girl, so if I ever go to an establishment and anyone makes my daughter feel special, for me that's a big win because I automatically am invested in that brand. There's a lady that opened up a practice, a client of ours in Harley Street, and she said, look, I'm also a referral practice. Man, this place is dripping in suede and velour and chandeliers. And she said, I don't want, and she doesn't like kids, she doesn't want kids. She said, I don't want those little shits coming to my practice. What shall I do? And I said, if you focus on the children, it's going to add a whole new element to your marketing. You make children feel special, parents feel special. So she said, what shall I do? I said, why don't you get some teddies and put the logo on there? So she went and ordered 20 teddies with the logo on there. And the kids' faces lit up when she gave them the teddies. But the parents they were just so grateful for those little touches. So I speak about this in my book. To take care of the children is to take care of the parents. If children are part of your practice, give them an experience that's pretty unique. And it's so easy to impress children under, Helena's just about on that not getting too impressed stage. I would say under 9. Yeah, she's 8. I'll give you one more example. I pick up the phone and a lady said, my boss has told me that I need to get quotes from 3 different website designers. Can I get a price, please? Right, really in that tone. I said, oh, well, look, what is it that you're looking to solve? Because of course we do websites, but they're not just websites, they are patient conversion machines. There must be something. That's what my boss has told me. Can I just get a price? I said, oh, you sound like you're in a hurry. What's going on? I'm going to New York tomorrow. I haven't been on a holiday ever with my son. It's the first time. I don't know what I'm doing. I've got the flights and my boss has told me to do this. I said, okay, well, I'll talk you through it. Here's the price. This is what you need to do. I'm going to send you the information. Now, because I've learned so much from Ramin, the customer service trainer, customer service isn't something you do, it's something you become. So I've always seen my dad to be quite a giver, and I've got the charity. So it's in me also to do a little bit more than usual. So my mind went to what she said. I've never been on holiday, and I've got a daughter as well. I've never been on holiday before. I'm going for the first time with my son. And she sounded so stressed. So I just went on Amazon and sent her this book and forgot about it. Give without expectation. So just sent her the book and I forgot about it. She calls me 2 weeks later and she said, Shaz, I'm so sorry. I forgot to call you to thank you. And I said, thank me about what? She said, you sent me a book about New York and all I told you is that I'm going for the first time. We read that book in the plane and that made our 3-day trip so memorable and so helpful because we had so many travel delays. I'm so grateful. I said, well, you're most welcome. And she said, before I left that pervert's practice, I made sure he used Digimax for their website. Now that was something I wasn't expecting to happen, but if everyone in your team is trying to deliver a little bit more than usual, I think they do this in the Ritz-Carlton, every team member has a small financial budget to spend on guests. And those guests feel so special that they'll go out of their way to recommend you, because we all like to have a recommendation in private circles. So I wrote this book, Experience Marketing for Dentists, and it's filled with all of that. Visibility. Grant Cardone says, the best known will eventually beat the best. So my first slide was about trying to be the best you can be. Obviously, we're all a work in progress. Been doing this over 20 years. I'm still learning today. So we want to try and be the best, but there are practices out there that are the best known, that are beating the best. And it's really frustrating for the best because they're like, we're better than that. And it's really frustrating for practices that are spending so much money on marketing to lose business to practices that are better than them. So I would say, try and be the best, but then the goal is to be the best known. So I come from a non-dental background, and I was doing work for, like I said, James Caan, House of Fraser. It was the dream as a designer to do work for the big brands, but it wasn't very fulfilling. So something quite significant happened where I said, I'm not going to do Digimax anymore, it's going to be Digimax Dental. I wanted to do a full U-turn and a shift into dentistry. And this was around 2017. I understood that for me to work with, so the reason why I stopped Digimax is because I was upset, really, really upset. My daughter was on the way, with the way clients from other sectors would treat us. They wouldn't speak to us respectfully. There were founders that, just found their way in business, but they weren't very easy to work with, weren't very good. And even the large companies, there was so much pressure. On a Friday evening, I remember Selfridges said, there's always a marketing manager changing. She said, look, we've got a project for you. I said, I'm so grateful. Said, this is what you're going to do. Sounded so exciting. It was the launch of some cream and they were doing some point of sale display. It's dream work for a designer. And they said, yeah, so we need it by Monday. I'm like, but it's Friday afternoon. This sort of work is 2 weeks worth of work. I said, oh no, if you can't do it, no problem. We'll give it to such and such agency. I was like, no, hang on. We can do it. I'm just saying, right? So we're all, and then that pressure I was giving to other parents in my team. We're leaving our families to work all day and night. So it's so unfulfilling. And then, near to when Helena was getting born, I thought, I cannot work like this for any sum of money. So I cancelled £800,000 of recurring revenue that Digimax was getting at that time to just focus on Digimax Dental. And I had one goal. And that goal was every single dental practice in the country should know what we do. They shouldn't be our clients because we don't want to work with everyone. But they should know what we do. And similarly for you, every single human in that local area should know that you exist. Because you're missing a trick then. Kunal Patel, Love Teeth Dental. I wish I put some of his marketing in here. You go to the cinema in Saturn, you'll see Love Teeth. If you drive past, you'll see a billboard. You'll see a phone box. You'll see them doing events. They've understood this. They are making sure every single person in their local area knows who they are. So visibility locally is a winner. If someone in your local area doesn't know who you are, you're missing a trick. Repeated exposure. Again, we don't want to get in trouble. It should feel like your practice is, this is what your area should look like with your practice. Now, obviously these things cost money, but slowly and surely you work on strategies that are going to give you that exposure. And we've all heard it. We need to see a brand many times to familiarize ourselves with it. So being known builds trust. That's the whole point. That's why Coca-Cola, Nike, they just keep repeating the adverts. We're not buying a trainer today. It's reminding us that they exist. And omnipresence wins. Repeat your message and keep telling people what you do. So once you open up a practice or if you're up and running, don't just assume everyone knows what is your USP. You have to keep pushing it out. Coca-Cola may not be the best tasting cola, but everyone knows it. Obviously, I know they're on the boycott list, so don't throw any eggs at me. It's just an example. So visibility will equal more opportunities for you. So the growth formula is simple, really. Be everywhere. So just focusing on paid ads, that's not the answer, if not everyone in your local area knows who you are. And then social proof. We trust strangers more than our own instincts sometimes. That's why review platforms have seen such a hike. So your customers' opinions are going to be your most important marketing tool. Yeah? Sometimes we'll do a website, which we charge a few £1,000s for. We've been working with that client for 18 months and the website's still not launched. We are losing money at this stage. But that client then will become an ambassador for life. So sometimes it's not business. Actually, often it's not business. My accountant says, you operate like you're a not-for-profit, but you're the most successful non-businessman that I work with because you give so much value that there is no chance that you are not going to succeed. Now, social proof in dentistry, obviously you know about reviews, but what if you had a film crew film a patient that's gone through an incredible transformation and you ask them the same questions? What were you worried about before you came in? How do you feel now? How was the experience? I'm not talking those typical testimonial videos. I'm talking in an interview, yeah, which is your sales pitch. Patient, before they even come to you, watches that. They're sold because your patient has done the selling for you. It's a ball ache because you've got to get a videographer, you've got to get a place, you've got to get the patient to agree. You do one of these a month, in a year you've got 12. You've got 12 more than the competing practices. Practices aren't doing this because it's high effort. It's going to sell more of the kind of treatments that you want to sell because the patient's speaking from an honest place and they're doing selling for you. And it reduces anxiety, creates credibility. It's a social proof growth formula. Website conversion, my area of expertise. Every visit to your website is a potential sale. So we've already worked out 5 patients extra from your website a month could be the difference between extra £100,000 a month to not having extra £1,000 a month. So I do another talk where it's more about our services, but I say you could be losing hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of revenue and you don't even know it. So there's so many websites out there, but they're websites. Do you want a pretty website, or do you want a website that makes you a lot of money? So if we know, so we've looked at over 100,000 website visitors from dentistry, and we've seen the heat maps, we've overlaid it. Everyone's going towards the top right when they're taking an action. Back in the day, when you used to buy advertising space in magazines, the right-hand side page of a magazine or a newspaper always costs more money, because naturally our eyes go that way. So we always put the phone number and address top right, call to action, because we want to get people off the website as quickly as possible and into inquiry. So there's so many things you need to look at, and you need to look at evidence of what your users are doing. Has anyone ever seen their mum or family member or friend use a website and you're like, what are you doing? They're so different. That's why Amazon Success Formula comes in. Get your ideal patient avatar and just think, that would Susie understand what we do? As I've said to you, these are the elements that should be on the website straight away without clicking or scrolling. There's about 120 more things that we do, but these are some things that you could implement, and it could be a difference between 3 or 4 more patients. Now, if I was to double down on any one marketing initiative, it would be to put word of mouth marketing on steroids. Going out of your way to build a business which has so many standard operating procedures about marketing, about customer service. So there are some amazing practices out there that do great things, but they're relying on 1 or 2 key individuals, usually the principal or the receptionist. Now, if they leave, then you're back at square one. So what hotels do is they make standard operating procedures. So if you ever come to my office, you're going to get a glass of water. That glass has got the D logo on there, and the water's going to be filled up to the top of the D. Now, it might seem a bit anal that it's like that, but I really care about consistency, because I've learned people like consistency. So I've made an SOP. Now, if someone's not following that SOP, they're not doing their job, right? So now it's not about Susie being great, it's about people doing their job. So what if you had an SOP that as soon as someone walks in, even if you're on the phone, or even if you're speaking to someone, you just go like, 1 minute, I'll be with you. Because we get ignored when we go into businesses all the time. I walked into this hotel, first time I'm walking into this hotel, I said, I'm here for a dental event. She had a big smile on her face. I'm here for a dental event. She said, yeah, you need to pay. I was like, I didn't know I need to pay. I was ready to pay her for whatever she wanted. Yeah, you need to pay. You haven't paid. So I did. Bobby has paid now, but it was for a microphone. It's like, what did you say, Bobby? An example of, you said it really eloquently.
Oh, it was just absolutely abysmal customer service.
Absolutely abysmal customer service. First impression. Okay, people aren't thinking about this stuff. But if she had an SOP that no matter what, this is you can't deviate on this. Smile, greet them. How was your day? I'm so happy to see you here. How can I assist you? Yeah. Now it's not about Susie being great. It's a SOP. Every team member must follow it. If they do not follow it, you call them in for a meeting and you say, why aren't you doing your job? That's how you grow a practice. That's how Bond Dental's got 5 practices, Cornell's got 10. You might not want that many practices, but that is the formula. That's how hotels are doing it. Thank you. I know there's a lot to cram in. I just want to do a little personal brand building exercise with you now. You should have this sheet on your table, but not on the back 2 tables, so we might need to pass them around. So if you've got any spares on your table, if you could pass it to someone who doesn't have them. I think that's the supplier's table over there, so don't worry about them too much. I think it's that table that needs them. Thank you. Great. More are coming.
Just to ask, yeah.
Bobby, we have until 11, right? Half 11, okay. Anyone need a worksheet? Everyone good? Over here? There you go. Anyone else? You guys? Great. Everyone got one? I've got two spare. Yeah? Great. Yeah, go. You can grab two. Just think, hey. Hello.
It's covers you today.
Oh shit. Okay. So guys, we're trying to cram in like a whole day worth of workshop in 1 hour. I did an exercise with a business coach, and he said, Shaz, why do people use Digimax? And I said, this is when I was like embryonic, and I said, it's because of my amazing design skill. And he said, I bet you any money it's not because of your design. I said, well, you're wrong, because I'm a designer, they tell me it's my design, and they say I'm great, and that's why they use me. He said, okay, get 10 of your favorite clients, the ones you want more of. He said, not the nutters, 10 of your favorite clients, and ask them, why do you use me? And I said, well, what if they say design? And he said, well, then I'm going to take you to a very nice meal. And he said, what if they say something else? And I said, well, then I'll do the same for you. I said, let's do it. So I asked these 10 clients. And to my shock, only one person said design. They said things like, this was the common trend, so I'm going to use top 3. You make time for us, you really understand us, you know your stuff. Yeah. So he said, now you've got that, has that changed your perception? I said, yeah. He said, well, what's going to change for you now? I said, I don't know. I thought it was design. He said, if the kind of clients you want more of really appreciate that you make time for them, you understand them, and you really care, what kind of posts, what kind of social media posts are you going to make next? I make time for my clients, not how great my design is. So what do we see on most dental practice Instagram accounts? Case after case after case after case. Most patients already think all dentists can do the same thing. They already think that. And to be honest, seeing teeth out of someone's mouth close up is really weird. If you've ever received a body part picture in isolation in a DM that you shouldn't have, it's really weird, right? So teeth, it's not normal to see teeth like that, which is good for you to know, because now I've reduced the pressure for you to take these perfect cases. They want to really get to know you. So the point I'm getting at, now me being here today, this is not who I am. I don't like being in front of anyone. I like to be behind the scenes. But I'm now forced into this position. Visible founders get more success. Being visible as a founder will make your practice more successful. And someone's going to say to you, a finance guru is going to say to you, no, you don't want to do that, because that's going to mean patients are going to only want to use you, and then you can't sell the practice. Really fair comment, but there's a way you do it. Do we expect Elon Musk to give us a test drive when we go to see a Tesla? Do we see Richard Branson as the train conductor? We buy into the way they think. As a founder, you think a certain way. So when you are coming in front of your audience, you're saying, my team are trained by me, they think like me, they are mini-me's. Come to my practice that I've created, and you will get the experience. I feel I've just about cracked that now, because I don't know most of our clients. I really don't know who they are. Because when they come to Digimax, they know that it's backed by someone that really genuinely cares. And I have naturally employed people that think like that too. So the goal is become more visible as a founder. Now, I don't know if anyone here struggles with self-promotion. Does anyone struggle with self-promotion? Hands up. Yeah. There's a lot of hands on this table. Could you just tell me, like, what is it about self-promotion that you struggle with? What part of it?
I feel it's cheesy.
Cheesy. Yeah, I hear this all the time. I can relate to that.
Putting my private life outside and showing my face to other people.
Showing your face, putting your private life out. Anyone else?
It sounds boastful.
Sounds boastful. I can completely relate to all of this. But like I said to you, visibility, practices that are quite visible and where the founder's quite visible, they tend to be attracting more opportunities. There is a way to get out there without looking cheesy, without looking boastful, just by reporting. So influencing is a really bad term. As a nation, we are quite nosy. When I put up a story, there's so many people viewing it, very few people commenting. But when I meet them, they're like, oh, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, you've been doing this. What if you just got your camera out and just shared what's going on? Today I'm learning, today I'm doing this, today I'm doing that. It's not about you saying, I'm great. It's not, you know, most of my stories actually, I don't even put my face on them. I don't like doing that. I do not like doing that, yet I've still been able to achieve the things that I want to achieve. And I'll probably achieve more if I do that, because I don't, that's not who I am. It's difficult for me. But you can still be successful by being who you are. As humans, yes?
Sorry, Shaz. Can I ask you please, when you say by being visible, like in which way though? Like what do you want to show? Because at the end, of course, you have to kind of, I mean, what you exactly want to be visible about? Because
Okay.
we normally like to show our work, obviously.
Yes.
But what else to show there if it's not like particular? I mean,
Yeah.
what do the patients want to see from you?
What do the patients want to see? Really great question. So by being visible, I mean, you might put out on your dental Instagram page, the practice Instagram page, all the treatments that you offer and the cases. By being visible, I mean, you need to be visible. You need to be speaking, ideally. The posts need to be coming across from you. So I often say have 2 Instagram accounts, one for you as the principal and one for you as the practice. All the studies in this space say, and you'll experience this yourself, that the principal is getting more messages than the practice because humans like humans. And what do? You have a set template. Thank you very much for messaging me. I would love to see you. And this is how you can come in for a consultation. So you would just present yourself as the doctor that runs this practice, and you are helping to promote this practice. But it's not that you are saying, come and see me. That's where it becomes a challenge, because then you're getting no freedom if you sell yourself like that. Plastic surgeons have to do that, because that's a different thing. So just be visible. So on this worksheet, I just want you to take a minute to list the phrases that reflect the way you want others to perceive you. And the 3 things that you feel patients should be feeling when they think, yeah, I'm going to refer Dr. Dan to someone. Yeah. How do you want to be perceived? And then after you've done that, fill in the blanks below. Your name, your target audience, the desired result, your method or service, and your personal hook. Just a raise of hand if anyone finishes this soon. Right, anyone want to share? Still going? Chris, can I just ask you your 3 words or phrases that you want patients to think about you?
Approachable,
Approachable,
proficient,
efficient,
proficient.
proficient,
Yeah, and also being efficient as well, but also having high standards.
high standards. Hi, I'm Chris. I help patients achieve outstanding smile makeover results through my years of dentistry. I'm passionate about delivering proficient dentistry. Approachable, and I'm approachable. Having an elevator pitch like that, which is your personal brand bio. Now, obviously, I haven't really thought about it. Now you've got ChatGPT to help you. Each and every single one of us, if someone meets me in a lift, there's 1,000 things that I do. I've written books, I've got a charity, I've got a documentary, that billion things that I do. If someone meets me in a lift, I say, I design websites for dentists. You are not just a dentist. You help deliver an outcome. So every so often, I would say every week for your new followers, it's not cheesy for you to say, hi, I'm Chris. This is what I believe in. This is how I do it. This is my passion. And I'm here to support you. So when you're building your personal brand, it's not about pictures on the beach. Although if that's you, that's fine. It's about making the patient the hero of your story. We view so many Instagram accounts where the hero is the person whose Instagram account it is. The hero should be the person viewing. Now, my coach said to me, Shaz, why aren't you making content about everything that you know? And I said, look, I want it to be perfect. I don't know if I like the way I look on camera and da 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 da. And he said, well, do you consume other people's content? And I said, yeah, lots of it. And he said, which content really stands out to you? I said, stuff that gives me a transformation, educational content. He said, outside of entertainment, I love entertainment content as well, like prank videos, I enjoy that stuff. But he said, stuff that really gives you a transformation is education. He said, right, think of some of those videos. Can you tell me what color t-shirt the guy's wearing, what the background looks like? Is there any lighting in there that affects the way he appears? Is he good looking? Is she pretty? He said, do you know that information? I said, not off the top of my head. He said, what do you know? I said, I know that he taught me that if I do it this way, I can achieve this result. So he said, yeah, that's what people care about. So even I spoke to a few people today, they said, oh, look, we're speaking, we're not used to speaking. And I give them my experience that I might not be the best speaker, but I know my stuff. So just come authentically in front of your audience and start sharing. I'm a hypocrite, I'm still working on this myself, but just get out there. It won't be cheesy if you are online exactly who you are offline. It becomes cheesy and self-centered and a bit, disingenuous if you try and emulate someone. You already have patients that love you, that really like you. Yeah? So you are now just going online and staying that same person, but online. What's going to happen? You're going to attract more people like them. And the people you don't attract, because you don't have your socks, like no socks on and your trousers up here, right? They're going to go to someone who does have that. I attract people who, I don't know, like to do good work, who like charity, who are just easygoing. And other companies attract people that are more like them. Birds of a feather flock together. You can only attract in droves if people know your mentality and your ideology. So I would say, if you're going online and building your personal brand, work through this sheet, because we haven't got enough time right now. People love videos like this. One lesson I've learned in my career, a common myth in dentistry is, people don't know that the best advice I ever received, psychologically, one hook that's always going to work is asking a question. Are you aware how many patients leave a website because they can't find a phone number? We are wired to look for an answer even when we don't know the answer when a question is asked. So if you start watching those TikTok videos and Instagram videos, you'll see the ones that have a lot of views that aren't entertainment, they're usually asking a question or throwing out a, did you know? We're piquing their interest. Any questions on this segment? Any questions around personal branding? Anyone here struggle with putting up pictures of themselves because they don't like the way they look on camera? Yeah? Because I was like that.
I think there's more than that because I speak to all of you.
Funnily enough, I asked Bobby that how, because you know, I don't see Bobby as someone that jumps in front of the camera at every opportunity. But I called Bobby. I said, Bobby, could you tell me like how do you do it? Because I'm still overcoming that fear. So with photos, the way I got over it was, I got a photographer, and a lot of people are doing this, by the way. Just get the photographer to spend a few hours with you and in your work environment. So you could be walking, speaking to someone, and just taking pictures of you doing lots of things. And you're going to get 100 pictures. And 5 of them, you're going to be like, I'm okay with this. Because they come across very natural. Those posy pictures where you're standing like that and all, that's very difficult to do. People don't even like those kind of pictures. So people do need to see the whites of your eyes. When someone messages me on Instagram and I go into their profile, I don't know their name, don't know what they look like, it's very hard for me to hold that conversation with them because I don't know who I'm dealing with. So when I say you need to come out as a founder, you will need to be visible, but it doesn't mean you need to be doing a photo shoot every week. You've got 10 pictures, every 2 weeks you repost a picture, hey, I'm Dan, I'm Chris, and this is what I do. And I'm here to serve you. That's all. My team are here to serve you. Don't need to make it about you because one day you want to sell your practice. So are we in agreement that referrals is the way to grow a dental practice? We're in agreement? And there's proof out there that that's how practices grow? Yeah, patients speaking about you and you deliver great service. In my experience, the only next most powerful marketing method that really works is Google. Because the patient is going out of their way to search for you. That's why Google is in the top 10 of companies worldwide in terms of their growth and annual income and revenue and ongoing revenue. Because searches are being put right in front of companies that can provide that service. We call them high intent patients. Just a quick raise of hands though. When you Google something, how many of you click the sponsored result? Just raise hands. 1, 2. I'm guessing the rest of you skip past sponsored and click on the results below. Is that right? Yeah? Why is that? Why is that?
No trust.
Did you say trust? That's what, yeah. It's trust. You trust it more. Anyone else got anything to say on that? Is that the reason why you're skipping the sponsored advert? Yeah. So it's unanimous in this room, because I do that. I skip the sponsored advert. The only time I don't skip it is if I'm being cheap and I see a special offer on there for something and I'm going to click it just to see what's going on. That's the only time I don't skip it. Your patients are telling me they skip sponsored adverts and click on the organic results because they trust them more. Who here spent a fortune on paid adverts? Who here spends money on paid adverts? I know you do, Bobby. You do as well. So Bobby, I know you're sophisticated because you're teaching the course, right? So I'm guessing when someone inquires at your practice, they're getting spoken to correctly, they're being followed up, there's emails that goes out, there's calls that go out. In the early days, before you became Bobby Bandel, yeah, did you find that those patients required quite a bit of convincing and rapport building because they didn't know who you are, they didn't trust you?
Yeah, we have no credibility.
Yeah.
So, it's much easier now because we have an established brand.
Yep.
We have Google reviews, we have reputation, we have some element of word of mouth. But the money that you put into paid ads for us has clearly worked a lot better the further in the journey that we are because we now have trust.
Fantastic. So what paid ads have done for Bobby is accelerated his reputation. And that makes sense to me. So when people are clicking paid ads, this is what people are telling me. So I know how to run paid ads. I don't offer it as a service because I believe in SEO more. But people are telling me that when people come through paid ads, we've got to work harder. We've got to convince them. They're often saying things like, I don't even remember filling out the form. and there's a larger follow-up process, unless you've honed that system right down. That's why I say focus on referrals, and you won't need to do too much of this, because no one wants to spend £5,000 a month on paid ads. There's only one ongoing marketing service that I offer and I believe in, and I can't offer it for everyone because if there's someone in that area who can't do it for someone else, and that is organic SEO, because we trust it more. So what is the purpose of your dental website? Purpose of your dental website is to get you more patients. Simple as that. If you like the color of your daughter's bedroom and you want that color on your website, and you like this and you like that, that's great. But it is a business tool. It's not a personal product. And I used to design websites. I say, Nasser, what do you like? Do you like it now? Do you like this picture? Do you like this button? This was me as a designer, and most designers out there. Probably not today. After hearing my talk, there's other designers here. This is not how we should be designing websites. It's important to get the preference of the practice owner, for sure. But you are designing a website to make more money for you, because you want patients to get on there. So you've done this treatment for Margaret. She's over the moon. It's taken months. Wow, it's amazing. Yeah. She's called Susan and said, oh, my teeth are amazing. Who did you go to? I went to such and such dental practice. They Google that practice, they end up at your website. It doesn't sound like the same practice that was described on the phone. We'll take what was it? 1 minute. Oh, that was good. It does not sound like the same practice that was described to her on the phone. But Google's so nice, it's presented other practices. And she's clicked on one, maybe a site we've designed, and gone to a different practice. A referral that was on its way to the practice takes a left turn, because the website isn't designed like Amazon to connect with that patient. So the website is going to be there's two places where money is drained in practice. Website's one of them. Where's the other place? Adrian's not in the room, is he? Where's the other place? Reception. Most money is lost in reception or on the website, because they've arrived, they've heard about you, they've seen the signage, they've had the referral, they've arrived, and now you got one chance. Reception's not answered them in the right way. I mean, there's Adrian's here now. He's got a phone system which is scoring calls. Yeah. So reception sometimes is so stressed. Your TCO might be so stretched as well. What's happening when they call is the first impression. So website and calls. Pretty websites are nice. Powerful websites are great. It's easier for me as a designer to make a Gucci looking website or Prada website, whatever websites that we keep getting told that people like. Much easier for me, because all I've got to do is put a logo on, put a picture on, put a menu on, job done. We make our job harder by really thinking about the process, because what's going to happen? Because I'll tell you what happened to me. I used to design loads of websites. I've never had a client that say, I don't like your work, because it's impossible. It's all I've ever done. I know how to design something that every person in this room is going to love. Guaranteed. No one can question me on that. That's how confident I am. Probably the only thing I'm so confident on. But what would happen? I would design these websites. Years later, when the client is ready for a redesign, they would not always go, about 30% of them would come back to me. And when I'd ask them, why did you go elsewhere? They had realized by that time that a website isn't a tool that isn't a product that you just design and satisfy them. They said, we came to you because we felt you know better than us, you should be guiding us. So when they went to redesign the website, that business wasn't guaranteed for us. So what I realized was, what I'm doing now is going to affect the next 5-10 years of my business. So when someone's designing a website for you, you really need to make sure that they understand business, and you ask them the questions. How is this going to make me more money? As I mentioned to you, I worked in lots of sectors, and then I founded this company. My own experience was, when I first started my company, was that when someone's going to transact with you, there's got to be a lot of trust, and we brought trust up. Visibility on organic SEO is all about trust. It's trusted more. So if a patient's trusting you more, the chance of them turning into a high quality patient is a lot higher. So whilst I was at uni, I used my student loan and I converted my parents' garage into a little office. And I saved up enough money to buy a plasma TV. plasma TVs had first come out, the slimline TVs, and I had this vision in my head that I'm going to mount this TV on a wall, and I'm going to, if anyone ever comes to my garage office in my parents' house, I'm going to show them their designs on that screen. So I had enough money, went to John Lewis, found the TV, and I said, I'd like to buy that, please. And they said, no problem. How are you going to mount it on the TV? I said, oh, does it not come with something? How are you going to mount it on the wall? I said, does it not come with something? They said, no, you've got to buy that separately. The brackets are over there. I literally just had enough money for this TV. I was in my early 20s. So I went to the bracket section. I picked up a bracket, took it to the till, and there was an extra £220 charge on the till. I was like, there must be a mistake. He said, no, that's the bracket. I said, well, do you not have a cheaper one? He's like, yeah, we've got cheaper ones. Took me, it was £180. Yeah, the difference was one tilted, one didn't. I had no money. I put the bracket back. I took the TV. The TV sat on the floor for months, and I couldn't get my head around why that bracket, just being a piece of metal, is so expensive. Yeah? And it came down to one thing. That bracket's value had increased because the way it was packaged and the needs of it, there was no other choice. And me coming from an entrepreneurial family, I thought, I'm going to go and design my own TV bracket to solve this problem, because I can't be the only person that's having this issue. So I designed my own bracket. It looked similar to the ones that were being sold for quite a lot of money, but I put my own spin on it. I put a padlock on it, and I did other things, and I contacted a supplier in China, and I said, I want you to produce this bracket, can you do it? And I said, yeah. I said, how much is it going to cost? $8, right? $8 plus delivery, so about £10. And this is a £220 bracket. I thought if I sell it for even £40, I'm going to be a millionaire. Now, £285 for the bracket, £950 for the TV. I made this bracket for £40. And I thought, wow, I'm going to be living the life on a yacht. Designed it. I spent a lot of time designing this, right? And I wanted the experience to be no different, if not better, than the bracket that's sold in John Lewis. I ordered a whole container of this. It was me and my friend Harry. The container cost us about £22,000 at that time. He said, I'll go halves with you, because I sold him the dream. So he put in 50%, I put in 50%. I didn't want to get any parent money off my parents, so I had to work very hard, and I borrowed £1,000 off my brother. My friend, equally in the same position, he put all his money into it. So this bracket arrived, put it on the website, and I thought it was going to fly off the shelves. But what do you think people were thinking? Will my television, £2,000 television, fall off the wall because it's so cheap? So I thought, let's add the word pro onto it. So same bracket, I just added the word pro, and I made the arm a little bit heavier. It didn't need it. These were TUV Rhineland certified. So it actually does the same thing. Just added the word pro. Now, it cost me 30p more because I added a padlock onto this pro version, right? Sold 90% more pro brackets for £40 more profit than the standard one, just because of perception, because no one wanted to take a chance. It was still cheaper than the actual bracket that you get in John Lewis. So I made this website, and we had another problem. The other problem was, how do you get this website to be visible? So we've got the stock in the warehouse. We've got two ambitious young men. So my deal was, I'm going to do the marketing, and Harry's job was to ship their brackets out when they come in. So I made this website. PPC was quite a new thing then. So I was still learning about SEO. This is how I know about SEO so much, because I lived it and I experienced it. So if someone typed in TV wall bracket, it took me about 3 years to really get to the first page, because I had to make all the mistakes to really understand what it takes to rank on the first page. So we were doing pay-per-click. And on pay-per-click, 1 month, when we spent £1,000, we worked out that we made £1,000 profit. So Harry called me and he said, Shaz, we're spending £1,000 and we're making £1,000 profit. Does that mean if we spend £2,000, we're going to make £2,000 profit? I said, Harry, you know what I'm going to say? Let's try it. Right? So we put £2,000 in. Again, guys, we are like zero bank balance at this time. We're just experimenting at this point. We spent £2,000. We made £2,000 profit. Next week, we spent £2,000. We made £200 profit. Week after, we made £1,400 profit. Week after, we made a £1,800 loss. We're like, there is no straight road when it comes to this. By the end of the year, we had shipped thousands of brackets. NHS bought from us, hotels bought from us. Profit margin, 0, because our partner was Google. So then the conversation became, if 1,000 people are coming to our website and only 10% are buying, how do we get that number up? Now it became about user psychology, not about graphic design or visuals. So it became about purchase beacons. So I knew about purchase beacons before Amazon. So you know it says same day London pickup on the right hand side. I put that badge on there. There is no same day London pickup available. It was in a really dirty looking warehouse in Finchley. Harry might have opened up the warehouse if someone said I want to pick it up. We put that on there. Sales went up by 2%. We put up on there the logos of the other companies, sales went up. I bought a mailing address for Regent Street, sales went up. Put the phone number on there, had someone answering the phone, sales went up. There were certain things that we kept tweaking to get that 10% to go to 12%, 15%, 20%. Very early on, 20 years ago, I learned that if you want to make money for your business through the website, it's about trying to get as many patients to transact with you. Having a website is not a tick box exercise. So I've lived it, breathed it, experienced it, and this is what I would teach you really here is to think about go onto your website as your patient and keep changing things to tweak it to where you've got to. How long do you think it takes before someone decides to leave your website? You arrive at a website, how long? 3 seconds? Anyone else? You're right. It's actually less than 3 seconds now. When I made this slide, it was about 3 seconds. It's less than 5 seconds in total. 5 seconds is nothing. It's taken me 5 seconds to say 5 seconds, right? You're getting on the website and immediately, is this going to be work for me? Am I seeing what I want? Should I leave? Amazon doesn't do that. Amazon forces you to go into the app and you stay. So you got to think, am I getting across what I need to get across on that website? And usually when someone's on a mobile device, they're looking to call or contact you or find out exactly where you are. So we've got very little time. We want them to stay on longer than 3 seconds. If they stay on longer than 3 seconds, they stay on 3 minutes. If they stay on 3 minutes, they end up inquiring. So we call this bounce rate. So we've studied lots of dental websites, even brand new websites that we've not designed, and we found the bounce rate is 70% in dentistry. 70 to 90% in some cases, which means, imagine you had a store on Oxford Street, 1,000 people walk in, 950 people walk out. What are you going to do? You're not going to be looking at each other. You're going to be like, what did we do wrong? Do we need to change the walls? Do we need to change the messaging? Do we need to change our staff? Because that's what's happening on websites. So Google Analytics gives us this information. We've got this number down to 30% only by changing what the website's saying and making it easier for the user and thinking about the mobile experience. Patients choose practices because of trust. It could be referral or what they see. And the most powerful form of marketing I've already shared with you is referral. And the second most powerful is Google SEO. These are the results that get clicked on more than the sponsored results. Should you not be doing paid ads? Of course you should be doing paid ads. It's part of a strategy. You should be doing everything because you want to be visible. But referral should be your focus. Great website should be your focus that converts. SEO, organic SEO should be your focus. SEO brings in high intent traffic, and Search Engine Land said 94% of people click on organic because they trust it more. If I was to invest my marketing budget, it would be all in patient experience, all with your team, creating standard operating procedures, taking them on team training. I'm not talking about sales courses, not about selling, about experience. Ideally from outside of the dental sector, because it's done better in the outside of the dental sector than anywhere else. And I said to you, I wrote a book on this. Second, which is paid, is search engine optimization. And then for me comes everything else. after that. And coming on the first page isn't just luck, it's a strategy. Google makes it really difficult to rank on Google, rank high. And before Google, does anyone remember Excite or Lycos or Ask Jeeves? These are the search engines. They're extinct now. Why? Because it used to be really hard to find what you're looking for on these search engines. You had to spend a lot of time. So would you agree that Google's unique selling point is that they give you results that are really very good quite early on? Which means that Google's protecting their business by really making sure their algorithm cannot be tricked. Yeah? So when a client says to me, I want to rank for dentists in London, and they're in Croydon, no money that you can give us will allow us to do that because the algorithm's so strong you cannot fool it. But what you can do is convince Google that you are being spoken about by patients. So when we Google Windows, why is it that a double glazing company doesn't come up and Microsoft Windows comes up? And similarly, if we Google Apple, why is it Apple the manufacturer comes up and not an Apple wholesaler? The way Google's algorithm works is based on popularity. People all across the internet are using the term Windows and referring to Microsoft on blogs, forums, etc., similar to Apple. Now, to get a patient to leave a Google review is like getting blood out of a stone sometimes. How are you going to get patients to speak about you on the internet? It's next to impossible. So what a search engine optimizer like myself does is we are mimicking patient behavior. What we're doing is we're putting signals out there onto the internet, off-site work. It's really straightforward work. It's just very time-consuming. And we are mimicking what a patient would do if they were to speak about you. So deep somewhere on our blog network, we're going to write a blog about you. Patient's never going to see it. Google's going to see it. And we're like, that Bond Dental, Bond Dental, Bond Dental, Bond Dental, right? And slowly your rankings will start to increase every month. And that's really what SEO is. SEO is natural, and Google prioritizes organic signals. So they need to see that you are providing great content. Are you answering questions on your website? If patient keeps asking you, in my business, if someone asks me a question more than twice, I go and make an article on it. I've got hundreds of articles to answer questions. So if you wrote 4 articles a month, over a year, you're going to have almost 50 articles. Answer questions in depth. And now the way you can use articles is, if a patient asks a question really specific to treatment, I don't know, are implants going to last? Composite bonding, do you whiten composite bonding? Right? You're going to give a short answer to the patient there and then because you're limited for time. But if with all your passion you write an article, and you can use GPT to help you, right? But you write the article and you put it on your website, your team can then say, or you can say to the patient, I'm going to send you a full explanation later, but this is my explanation now. It builds more credibility, more trust, and Google can see if people are visiting that blog, how long they're spending on that blog, and it ranks you higher. Now, it might seem like a lot of work, but a good company will make this easy for you and take care of things like this. And SEO doesn't annoy patients like ads do. This is a list of the things that people who've been running ads have told me. And it's fine, it doesn't mean you don't run ads, but why should I choose your practice? Why do I need to pay a deposit? But high intent patients say, I love what you do, how do we get started? I found you on Google, how do we get started? Because they trust you more. 80% of users trust organic search results more, and SEO creates visibility without being intrusive, because they came looking for you. I've never given a builder any work that's knocked on my door, even if I need building work at that time. It's just the psychology behind it. I need to go seek it. So that's how I would say you should invest your time on online experience. There's quite a few factors that Google looks at, but I'm conscious of time. Google's looking at, do your pages answer questions? Do other websites link to you? How fast is your site? Are you even near the person searching? There's over 200 ranking factors. We don't know what they are, but we do know majority of them. Why bother? Yeah. This is a squat group, but for many, it's about maximizing associate production, increasing the practice value for exit. The number of practice sales that I see in my business, so someone's exiting or someone's buying, and the same question, is it ranking high? Is it getting visibility? It's a far more attractive proposition to buy a practice that's got a strong brand and has got a steady flow of patients coming in, even after you stop SEO. Now with paid adverts, you're spending thousands of pounds and your profitability can be variable. You really need to crack that nut. With SEO, you're spending hundreds of pounds, but you're getting patients that are trusting you more and spending a lot more. So it's about finding that right sweet balance for you. You can scale and recruit and stop working so hard to attract patients who really value your expertise. So when PPC stop, when paid ads stop, which I know how to run, SEO keeps going. And when you stop SEO, SEO still keeps going. SEO doesn't disappear because you've built that credibility and trust. So there's practices that have been doing SEO for 2 years, they're dominating the area. We say, you can stop now. They say, are we going to lose our rankings? We say, no, sometimes you might, usually not. So how much money could we be leaving on the table? 5 more patients a month could mean 134k a year, or that's if they come back, £114,000. Often it's a lot more than that because 5 patients is a really conservative number. More realistically, it could be numbers like this, which is very common. This is the uplift that people see when they're doing all the right things. Great practice, great visibility, strong visibility, and just focused on old school marketing. So if you notice, I haven't said anything clever to you. There's no clever bots I've spoken about, or AI tools, or funnels, or follow-up sequences, because I don't buy like that. If a cookie follows me around on the website and shows me an advert 100 times and then emails me and then sends me a text, I'm blocking all that crap. That's not how I buy. So if you're being told that that's how you're going to get more patients, I see those adverts every day. There's a rise in them. We're going to get you 20 more patients guaranteed. It's all BS because patients do not buy like that. And the kind of patients you're going to attract are going to be high numbers. So you're going to get the calls through. Then you're going to have to beg them to use you. So for me, that's not an attractive proposition unless you are a call center where you can handle that kind of business. How can you do your own SEO? Optimize your Google business profile. Go into your Google business profile. Make sure every field that you can possibly fill in that's relevant is filled in. I've got an article on this, so I'll show you how to do that. Create fresh content on your site. Answer questions. I've written a blog on how to write articles using ChatGPT whilst making it sound human and not attracting a penalty. Message me later, I'll send it to you. Collaborate with other businesses. So if there's other practices in different parts of the world, different parts of the UK, you could write a blog about them, they could write a blog about you. Make sure there's a hyperlink to each other. You're non-conflicting. Google is looking at how many people are speaking about your business. Do this consistently. Going gym twice for 3 months is not going to get you results. This is something you've got to do every week and every month for years. And natural SEO is both unique and effective. Now, before I leave you, I want to give you an example of, I would really appreciate if you could help me with the survey I'm doing on personal branding while I give you this example. There was a practice that came to me and said, we want to increase our revenue. And I looked at their Google profile and it was amazing. They were ranking #1 or top 3 for all of their search terms. And this is a really densely populated area, actually a high needs area. I'll tell you where it is. It's Ilford. They were ranking very high in Ilford. And he said, we're just not getting the patients. And I was perplexed. I can't offer them SEO because there's nothing I could do to rank them higher. What am I going to prove to them? I'm not going to be able to get them more patients. So I looked at their Google Analytics. They were getting over 400 visits a month, which in dentistry is a huge number for a local town, huge number. And he said, we're getting no patients. So I looked at the website. The website was, the website looked like it's for some other practice in a third world country, war zone, right? You go onto it, we're a dentist, I had a picture of someone biting into an apple. All we did was redesign the website. At this point, anyone could have redesigned this website. It wasn't even anything unique that we did. We just redesigned the website. redesigned the website, launched it. I have the email. He said, we are now getting 4 to 5 patient inquiries a day. He said, have you increased our SEO? I said, no. All I did was change the website. So ranking high that's the hard part. They'd done the hard part. The easy part was missed. So you need to make sure that that journey, that loop is being connected. Thank you very much for anyone that's helping me with this survey. I really appreciate that. Just before I end, I would just like for a few people to just say, what was their aha moment from this talk? It really helped me and maybe others as well. Anyone want to share? Nasser, one aha moment for you?
You asked the wrong person on the spot. Create mini-me's.
Create mini-me's. Anyone else? Yes.
I think even on a website, just although you know that you have to put the contact details and things like that, there's actually a lot of thought goes into the positioning of it and making it all as accessible for a patient so that you generate that lead quite quickly.
Yep.
Shaz, I do have one question.
Yes.
You know the automated chat boxes?
Yes.
How beneficial are they on a website? Because I personally find them quite annoying. Like when you go onto a website, I've never used one.
Yeah.
But I don't know, do patients like it? Do patients use it?
I'll answer that. Has anyone had a lot of success with the chatbot in this room? Just be open, honest. No? Yeah, you have? Yeah?
Oh, using one?
Integrating one into your practice.
Oh, no.
No? Okay. So, chatbot, hopefully you will. I'll help you one day. A chatbot is a bouncer. Yeah? You're being forced, it pops up, and you're being forced to use it. And it's blocking our website. In some ways, it's really annoying because it's intrusive. In some ways, it's amazing because you've kind of forced them to talk to you. And that guy that's just talking to you and you don't want to talk to them, it's extracting your information. My answer is, I don't know, because I've seen the data. If they're not using the chatbot, if you didn't have a chatbot on our website, which we don't, it doesn't come with default, they're going to use the online booking or the contact form. Yeah. Now, if you put a bouncer there, they're not going to get to that because now they're forced to use that. So my opinion is that it really only works when we're talking thousands of visitors coming to a business where you really need to make sure that everyone's getting into some kind of conversation. So if someone's entering your website at 4 a.m., for example, chatbot allows you to have a conversation there and then. The AI chatbots, not the crappy ones from before. So yeah, I've got mixed views. Any last one aha moment from today? Yes.
Oh, sorry. The aha moment is this can be quite straightforward, just to get the bonds onto your personal bio.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
And you had a question?
Yes. So with different people now, they're using AI voice to do various various search. So whether it's before, then you type up and various Google result would come in, you cipher through all of that, and it's important to rank up.
Yes.
On the Google ranking first page, second page. Now somebody said, well, I want the veneers in Berkshire, and then the AI would then automatically pump you up onto that 1 or 2 research, and that's why AI is so popular.
Yep.
So I can see now it's even more important to have a good website because that's what they're going to go on to next.
Yes.
How can we get to that bit? Because now we find that there is now before get to the Google page, you have to do something else to get into that window.
Yes.
And that's going to become more and more popular.
Fantastic. This is a really current situation right now. Use of AI. Patients are using AI to research treatment. So the data that I've got today, as of today, is patients aren't using AI to find the local practice. They're using it to understand treatment better. So you're getting higher qualified patients coming through the door. But when a patient does go to ChatGPT, if you notice, when you enter something that requires a bit of research, so if you typed in, tell me the best dentist in Marylebone, a little thing's going to happen. Next time you watch it, see it. It says searching the web. So AI is using Google to extract the results, and it brings the top results into the Google search. So I'll give you Bond Dental as an example. If someone types in, what is the best Invisalign provider in Baker Street? It'll say Baker Street Dental, that's been there 20 years before Bond Dental, and Bond Dental. Bond Dental's only a few years old, but because they rank top 2 or 3, they automatically appear in AI. So to get into AI, you need to rank high on Google. Yeah. I think I've taken up a lot of your time, guys. Thank you very much for being a great audience. Thank you. Cheers, brother.